Hi, this is Lori Culler, owner of AgHires. Today, we're going to talk about digging deeper in interviews. And this is really for the interviewer trying to do a better job on the interview. And often, what's the whole point of an interview in the first place is really to dig deeper. We want to get to know someone beyond the surface level, answers that they give, what's it really going to be like to interact with them, and how do they really perform, and how do they interact in their last couple jobs. So the whole point is, digging deeper, and then how do we do that? For hiring managers, we don't typically have formal training. Yes, recruiters typically do, but hiring managers, not always the case. And so we're just not naturally trained. A few things you can do ahead of time is to be more prepared. Yes, you're gonna have your generic questions or your set of questions you're gonna ask each and every candidate. But really, you should take every single resume and add specific questions for each candidate, digging deeper into the resume. So that will automatically start you off the bat with a kind of a deeper sense of the interview. And then know how to take an answer that they give you and not just move on to the next question, but dig a little deeper, spend a little bit more time in that area. Some of my favorite follow-on questions are, tell me a little bit more about that, or what was the result of that, or how did someone else react to you doing that? How did you accomplish that? Did you work with other teammates to accomplish that? So whatever they kind of say in their response and answers, if you're curious to learn more, spend the time and ask a few more questions. A few ways that you could apply this would be, let's say they say something a little bit more generic, such as, my manager and I really just didn't see eye to eye, and I end up switching companies, and then they just start on with their next role. You can say, tell me a little bit more about, your past manager. What was it that you didn't really care for? Was it their demeanor? Was it how they interacted? Tell me a little bit more, and then walk me through kind of how you handled and interacted with them. So instead of letting them kind of, I won't say get away with, but kind of moving on past that, you really want to know a little bit more on what were the circumstances around that. Also think about digging deeper on their accomplishments. Let's say they say, I doubled sales the first year. That sounds wonderful, but how did you go about doubling in sales? What was the market like at the time? What was the competition like at the time? What were some of those strategies that you implemented to get to the double of sales? What were some of the challenges to doubling those sales? Spending more time on a specific area and just kind of keep playing around until you kind of feel like you found all the answers and really felt that you understood the full scope and their approach on a certain situation. Also, a common kind of mistake that we see interviewers do is fill in the space. As humans, in general, we like to fill in that quiet space or that silent space. Make sure when you're interviewing that you leave that silence there. Sometimes they're just thinking of their answer, and sometimes if you give them just a little bit more space, they're gonna fill it in with some more content. And more content is better for you so you can analyze if they're a fit. So make sure that you're not jumping necessarily to fill in that silent space, or ask the question a different way, and keep going a little deeper beyond the surface level to get kind of those answers that you're looking for. Last little tip is making sure that you're leaving time and plenty of time for them to ask you questions about the role, about the company. Often when you're leaving open that end part for them to ask you questions, that's really your opportunity to see how they're motivated, what might interest them about this job, what they're curious about, and how their kind of mindset and strategy works when they're asking you questions as well. So making sure that you're not rushing the interview and leaving them ample time at the end to ask you questions. Like us and follow us at AgHires for more tips.